Mr. Fernandes of Falmouth.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, for your leadership and through you to the members. It's an honor to stand before you today as a representative from Falmouth, Martha's Vineyard, Nantucket, and Cuttyhunk. I want to personally thank the residents of my district for sending me here to advocate for them, and I'm truly humbled to have their support. My district is a really unique one in this Commonwealth because it spans 3 counties, 9 towns, 2 sounds, and when I came here, one of my first memories was sitting down next to a gentleman from Western Mass who was talking to me about the challenges of traveling his district and how it takes over 2.5 hours to make it across his district. But when I told him it takes me 2.5 days to travel mine, he's quieted down ever since about that, Mr. Speaker. And many people across the Commonwealth think that Falmouth and the Islands is home to some of the wealthiest people in our state. And yes, that is true for only about 2.5 months of the year. The residents, the year-round Cape and Islanders, often face tough challenges. And that's true for my family. My father was born to a large Portuguese family in Falmouth, and he's in a family of 8 brothers and sisters that grew up in extreme poverty. College was never an option for him, so he started a small landscaping company and worked to see it grow, and he got to witness the reward of his hard work as I graduated from college, an education he could never afford for himself, but one that he helped pay for. And I'm the first person from this large Portuguese family to graduate and earn a bachelor's degree. And I ran for office, I ran for state representative to give back to the community, district, and state that has given me and my family so much. Because I know that stories like mine and my family's that are being told less and less on the Cape and Islands. Lack of affordable housing is driving young people, working families, and seniors out of our district. In fact, the average home price on Nantucket today is over $2 million. We have an opioid epidemic that's ravaging our local communities, and 12 parents of children have died from an opiate overdose in the last 3 years at only one of our elementary schools, and we have 4 of them. And environmental degradation and sea level rise brought on by climate change is threatening our delicate coastal communities. And that is why I rise to speak today in support of this bill to join Massachusetts onto the Paris Climate Agreement. I filed this bill back in January in anticipation of President Trump pulling out of the agreement. And by withdrawing, America will join Syria as the only nation in the world not signed on to the Paris Agreement. And Massachusetts has long led the nation on climate action, and we know that advancing clean energy is not only good for our environment, it's good for our economy. We've seen this in my district as deepwater offshore wind 13 miles south of the vineyard in Nantucket brings investment and brings resources and jobs to our state. And Massachusetts ranks 35th, or ranks 2nd in the nation in solar jobs, despite ranking 35th in the nation in sunshine. And frankly, Mr. Speaker, I don't think I've seen the sun once this week. So we're doing great on the jobs piece, and Massachusetts does not produce coal or oil or natural gas. So the more renewable energy we produce in our state, the more we invest in our own energy economy. And since the Industrial Revolution, world history teaches us that whoever controls energy production controls geopolitics and economic growth. And today we know the future of energy, and that future is renewable energy. If Massachusetts continues to invest in clean energy and greenhouse gas emission reduction, we will emerge as a leader of the new energy economy. And taking up this bill today, Massachusetts reaffirms our commitment to environmental leadership and climate action. And I want to recognize all the lawmakers in this room who brought forth nation-leading policies like the Global Warming Solutions Act, expanding our renewable energy portfolio, and calling for that deepwater offshore wind, the largest deepwater offshore wind project in America. And as a millennial, there is no greater issue that will impact my generation and my children's generation than that of climate change. And our generation stands on the shoulders of the climate leaders in this room. And we must continue to build upon those achievements by expanding our renewable energy portfolios, eventually pricing carbon, and moving towards 100% reduction in greenhouse gas emissions from 1990 levels. And I also want to recognize the governor's leadership and combating global warming by joining the United States Climate Alliance. And while the Climate Alliance is a really important domestic agreement, this bill that we're taking up today joins us on to the International Paris Climate Agreement as a non-party stakeholder. The bill recommits Massachusetts to hitting and exceeding the United States greenhouse gas emission targets in the Paris Agreement, and it takes a step further by documenting our greenhouse gas emission data with NASCA, the United Nations affiliated group that tracks global emissions data. Effectively fighting climate change isn't just about setting up goals, it's about being held accountable to hit those goals. And our bill partners us with the global community and holding ourselves accountable for reducing greenhouse gas emissions through transparent international reporting. The rest of the United States looks to Massachusetts for leadership and environmental stewardship, and it's time that we send a message to our country and the world that the Commonwealth stands in solidarity with our global community in combating climate change, and that a handful of climate deniers in Washington, D.C. did not speak for the people of Massachusetts. Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker.
Mr. Fernandes of Falmouth asked that when the matter is taken, be taken by a call of the yeas and nays. Those joining with them will rise. Monitor return the count. First Division, 20. Sufficient number having arisen. The matter is taken by a call of the yeas and nays.